State your name for the record.
Austin Zachary Mark Gibson.
All right, so what do you wish to say to the court?
I just want to tell you that I do accept a full range of, full responsibility for it all, and I do apologize to you and the court, and the persons of that business. I did react like this due to, lack of consistency on my medications. I do ask that I can get the help, to get this correct. I have a meeting scheduled with Miss Amanda at CHDS.
I apologize. I'm going to ask a couple of questions and go back. Before we talk about Amanda from Center for Healthcare Services, talk about what happened. You said you were inconsistent on your medication.
Yes.
You want to be more specific?
A lot of the inconsistencies would be, getting up very early for work, like 3 a.m. I wouldn't, out, just pack my lunch and out the door. And being there's time that my phone isn't charged or plugged in, or even the noise, because my little girl would like to grab my phone.
And so you basically stopped taking medication.
Yes.
And ever since you got clean and sober, when did you get sober?
I've been sober for a good while.
Ever since you got out of Lifetime, pretty much?
Yes.
With one minor exception, but you've tested negative on your UAs since October of 2024. So basically for the last year, you've been all negative on all your UAs.
Yes.
And you successfully completed Lifetime Recovery inpatient.
Yes, sir.
Successfully completed SATF before that.
Yes.
You had done the outpatient program before.
Yes.
Completed your UAs in the last year successfully. Done private outpatient with Lifetime, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're behind on your fees though, is that correct?
Yes. But I do have employment.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I do have employment that I can catch that up. I did have a vehicle that had a lot of issues, and it took a lot of my money, and that's why I couldn't stay consistent on the payments. But this job that I do know is a second chance employer. They have accepted me for employment.
So since you got off your medication, that's the real problem you're having.
Yes.
And what happened with this specific incident?
It was just time of day. It was hot. I just got frustrated. I outlashed towards just an inanimate object rather than a person, and broke the fence. And I was looking for water for my radiator because I thought it was the radiator that had failed, but it was the water pump. So I tried to put water into the reservoir so that it could feed back into the radiator, but I didn't find nothing but like maybe a quarter of a cup.
But what happened was you were trying to fix that.
Yeah, I wanted to fix that, and I couldn't find a water faucet that worked. So I said, "Oh, you know what? I already broke the fence. Let me go to the roof. Let me see if I can find a run valve for the HVAC system." Well, I found one. I tried to turn it, and it didn't work. So when I stood up, I slipped and I kicked the piping right there.
And what does that have to do with you being off medication? Talk to the judge about that.
That's just me. My mood swings have been. It's been a lot of up and down, and I never really understood how to talk to anybody about that. I would like to try to talk to my team there at the Center for Healthcare Service, but when I do call, a lot of the numbers, either when I call they answer and hang up, or it sounds like a fax machine, like a beep boop beep boop boop.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You've been before me previously for a violation of condition number 1.
Yes.
And whenever there's a violation of condition number 1, that's a new charge. So what was your previous violation of condition number 1 for?
I can't recall.
All right. Could somebody look that up and tell me what that previous number 1 was? Because once you had a violation of condition number 1 for that time, the court denied the motion, and that's when you got sent to Lifetime Recovery. And the motion was withdrawn. So there was a previous number 1. Yes, what was the previous number?
In 2023, the new offensive assault was withdrawn on 2023, and conditions were amended to include drug court, Lifetime Recovery.
All right. So that was an assault, and who was the complainant in that assault?
It was my wife.
The name?
Claudia. rushing.
Yes. And now I have a letter, defense exhibit number 1, with her saying, there were some issues between you as far as you're not doing your medications.
Yes.
All right, continue. I'm just trying to get the sequence of events in my head, all right?
And it's just been there's not much else I could say about it. It's just, I've had a lot of, problems within myself trying to find, either courage or, cry out. I'm not sure, but I didn't know that I could even come to you. A lot of people told me in the jail that I
No.
could ask you.
No,
for the
because
help
let me
too,
just
but-
tell you, let me stop you right there. You're saying that you can't come to me? I
No,
don't believe that. And let me tell you why I don't believe that. And your counsel will tell you this. Everyone in this court who is placed on probation, I let them know. If they have an issue, let their officer know. If they feel as their officer is not addressing it, then you can come back to me. And every time that somebody's had a motion to revoke, if I've continued them, I tell them that. So don't start with, I didn't know I could come, because that's not true.
yes. Yes. And my plan is to get with Miss Andrea at Center for Healthcare Service, and explain to her my, issues that I've had personally, and see who she could get in touch with, like with the care team over there that I can follow through with.
Austin, if I could interrupt you, you met with somebody 2 weeks ago
Yes.
from Center for Healthcare Services since you've been in custody, is that correct?
Yes.
And when you met with her, she talked to you about if you're released, if the judge is kind enough to continue you, you can go to Center for Healthcare Services.
Yes.
And they will plan a treatment and care team around you.
Yes.
That's what you told me.
Yes, they will.
So it's not so much of, you're gonna talk to her when you get out, but you've actually met with her and.
Yes, and she's told me and 4 other gentlemen that they would do that.
And so what you're asking the court.
And I'm asking the court if you could kindly reinstate, if not, I accept full range of the punishment of my problems here.
All right, state any questions?
Briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Gibson,
Yes,
at any point during this inconsistency you refer to, did you inform your probation officer?
do say again?
At any point during this time of inconsistency, did you inform your probation officer of that inconsistency?
It's been she's a very hard woman to get a hold of, to start with, so. I mean, I would like to talk to her, like, I would want to tell her things like that, but she would always say like, no, that's not for me to deal with.
But my question is, did you make attempts?
Yes,
Okay. And then prior to August 31st, 2025, did you have contact with Center for Healthcare Services regarding this inconsistency? Or did you make attempts to?
yes,
Yes. You mentioned that you were attempting to get water, correct?
yes.
On or about August 31st, 2025, was the Wallace Bank open?
No.
Were there
I
other
don't think-
businesses around?
There was a Jason Sedeli, I believe, but I had asked somebody like from the parking lot, like, hey, can you help me with some water? They looked at me like I was crazy, so I was like, I'm not even gonna attempt to.
Would you agree with me when you jumped the fence for the Wallace Bank, you had 2 jugs of water with you?
No, I had an empty bottle.
So at no point you didn't pour water on yourself throughout the
I
time?
poured water on myself, yes, but that was very hot water.
So you would agree you came to
Yeah,
the Wallace Bank with
yes,
water?
with water, yes. But I needed more water.
Mr. Gibson, would you agree with me the best way for someone to learn a lesson about consequences for them to take full responsibility for their actions?
Yes.
No further questions.
Nothing further.
All right. So probation, on this case, can you tell me, was there any restitution that was due Vincent Arias and Victor Toro? All right. So, Mr. Gibson, what I can tell you is I read the letter from Ms. Rushing. There is nothing else I can do to help you. And let me explain to you why. This is not your first motion to revoke. And each motion to revoke that you've had with me has been your having a new case. So the first time, you're of course on deferred adjudication for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And the first time was an assaultive case against you say your current wife. And that motion was withdrawn. I'm assuming it was withdrawn because maybe she didn't want to come forward, or maybe there wasn't enough evidence. I'm not saying either way. I'm just saying that with regards to that, that issue was addressed by withdrawing the motion. And when that motion was withdrawn, the first thing was a referral to felony drug court. And if you were not accepted there, a referral to lifetime recovery. And before that, you were sent to SATF. So there is, and then, well, actually, you've had more than one motion to revoke. So you had a motion to revoke in 2020. That was a violation of condition number 1. The court found that true after your plea of true. You were denied an alternate amended with a TAP evaluation follow recommendation. Then on November 2020, you're like, hey, I'm ready for treatment. Let me do it. And I said, okay. And that's when you were with your new wife, and there was supposed to be no harmful or injurious contact with her. And then after that happened, then there was a motion to revoke that was withdrawn, and they alternately amended conditions to include no contact with Claudia Rushing. And here we are with another number 1. And based upon the state's cross-examination and your answers, this wasn't about your seeking water. You had 2 jugs of water, and you actually poured water on yourself instead of pouring it in your vehicle. So as previously stated, the court is finding 1 and 1 true. The court is going to find you guilty. The court will revoke you. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. There's to be no residing in any household with minors.
Why is that?
There is to be no unsupervised contact with minors. And the court is going to have the previous conditions that were previously given. There's to be no contact with Claudia Rushing. Vincent Arias. And Victor Tovar. I think it's Tovar, Tovar. And the court is going to sentence you to 10 years in the prison. The court will give you credit for any time served. Credit for any time served for successful completion. Thank you. All right, if you'll let the clerks know. Successful completion of inpatient treatment. Court will recommend therapeutic community. Therapeutic community doesn't increase the time that you're in custody. It's just to provide you with help with your sobriety. Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? All right, you do have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you are in deferred adjudication.
Quick question.
Sure.
That my wife is all I have out there, and I understand that, what I did was wrong, but she's the only person I have.
So here's the thing. I understand what you're telling me, but what I'm telling you is based upon the allegations of your previous assault against her. You all agreed that the motion would be withdrawn, and this is from 2023, I believe. You agreed that it would be withdrawn and that there be no contact with her. So the court is following the previous condition.
Please let me at least talk with her, because that's my daughter, that's my family. That's all I have.
No, in the letter that I received, she states in that letter that those are her biological children, not your biological children, that you have a biological child with someone else.
No, it's with her.
No, that's not what's in the letter.
With Claudia Rushing? Yes, I have a little girl, Athena Gibson.
That's
with
not
her.
what she put in the letter.
Yes, I have a biological daughter with her, Your Honor.
Well, what I'm telling you is, when you're released, you're not allowed to have any contact with her. When you're at the prison, you're not allowed to have any contact with her. You're not allowed to have any unsupervised contact with minors, and you're not allowed to reside in any home where there are minors. And that's based upon the letter that was presented to me. That's based upon your current actions.
And
Judge, could we modify that to allow him to have contact with his biological daughter?
No unsupervised contact with minors. All right, thank you.
Austin Gibson stood before the court with his hands open and his words measured, accepting responsibility, explaining his medication lapses, detailing his sobriety journey. On paper, his record showed real effort: inpatient recovery completed, SATA completed, outpatient programs, and nearly a full year of clean drug tests. By many measures, this was a man who had been trying. But the court had a longer memory. Gibson was on deferred adjudication for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, one of the most serious charges a person can carry without yet being convicted. And this wasn't his first motion to revoke. A prior assault against his own wife had been withdrawn. Conditions were amended, programs were assigned. And yet here he was again, this time for criminal trespass, breaching a property, accessing a rooftop, damaging piping, all while off his prescribed medication, and, as the court made clear, in possession of water he was pouring on himself rather than into his vehicle. The judge wasn't buying the story, and the sentence reflected it: 10 years in prison. No contact with his wife. No unsupervised contact with minors. No residing in any home with children, including, heartbreakingly, the daughter he claimed as his own. The moment Gibson asked the judge to at least let him talk to his family was one of the most human moments in the courtroom. But the law doesn't run on emotion, it runs on patterns. And Gibson's pattern had spoken louder than anything he said at that podium. Second chances have limits, and in Courtroom today, those limits were reached. If you found this case as eye-opening as we did, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns, because justice never gets old.